Hi, ThatPaulGuy. In a previous video I had mentioned something about doing a video cardless build and said that I would go ahead and lay out all the parts that were going to go into that build and everything that I was going to use for it. So this is that video. I want to share with you what is going to actually go in this and why I don't need a video card right now. I can use one a little bit later. So I've already showed you guys the H500 NZXT case. It's a mid-tower case, acrylic side on it. Clean front, which looks very, very nice, but when you go to try to put an optical drive or something like that, that's pretty much a no-go. That's not going to happen. So it also hampers just a little bit airflow. I don't want to say hampers airflow because it will come from the bottom and the front, and it will come from the side along the front. I still think that'll be plenty for right now, so we'll see how that goes. If I do use anything that's going to cause more heat, I might have to go with an AIO or maybe put some more fans or something like that. So we'll see what happens. The motherboard I'm going to be using is an Asus Prime X470 Pro motherboard. It's got several PCI slots, M.2. It's got actually, I believe, two separate spots for M.2, including one that has a heat sink on it. So that'll be very handy. M.2s do tend to warm up quite a bit if they're used a lot. I will not be using that so far, but I will expand to it later. The CPU that I'm going to be using, this is a AM4 slot, so it needs an AM4 type processor. In this case, we're going to use the Ryzen 2400G. It is G on the end of it because it is also a graphics card. It's a graphics solution. It's got the Radeon graphics already built into it, so you will have the CPU on regular Ryzen R5 processor, 4-core 8-thread, 3.9 boost on it, and a video card that goes along with that, the Vega Video, that's going to be integrated, and they're side by side on that same chip die. So it's not going to produce AAA titles at ultimate settings, but it'll be more than enough to get decent gameplay and productivity, and we'll see where it goes from there. But for the time being, that's what we're going to do, and that's why we won't need a separate video card in the PCI Express slot. So that's going to be put with a EVGA 500 watt power supply, more than enough to handle what I've got right now. When I do go to expand, I might need to go up a little bit, we'll see, but when I do that, this is just a regular 80 plus. I did not get bronze, gold, or platinum power rating on it, which if you guys look, or if you guys are concerned about that, the power efficiency of those are quite a bit better than just a regular 80 plus. But if I do need to expand later, that's when I can make that move. The memory I'm going to be using, 16 gig of Patriot Viper memory. It's DDR4, and I believe this one clocks in at 2666. I was using it for a previous build. I swapped it out for faster memory, so now I have that available for this one. It's going to fit quite nicely in here, and one chip or one piece of memory or one DIMM of memory will be just fine in this. I don't need a pair of them yet. If I do that, if I do get something faster, of course, I can always upgrade later and still have this available for another build. Speaking of available for another build, the Evo 500 gig Samsung 500 gig SSD I did buy for my other build, and since I upgraded that to an M.2, I no longer need the 500 gig SSD, so I'm going to use that for this one instead. That's where I'll put my operating system and some games and productivity and stuff like that on. The main purpose of this build is to go ahead and, first of all, prove that I can do it. Prove to myself that I can do something that will be effective without having to worry about a video card and everything. But the second part is going to be expandability. I know that eventually I want to have two different rigs, one for editing and one for gameplay and stuff like that. So this will be the beginning of that, and we'll just see how this one expands. I do know that later this year, with the new Ryzen CPUs coming out and the Navi GPUs coming out from AMD, there'll be plenty from the AMD house to choose from. Intel's working on faster processors in the 10mm, and NVIDIA has something wonderful to announce soon, so we'll see how that goes. So by the end of this year, this could be a very, very different build, or it could be a totally different build, or I might build something completely different, who knows. But that's it for this. I want to make sure that I showed you guys what was going to go in this build for right now, and see if we need to expand it later, and what it's going to take when I start doing that. So I'll go ahead and get this in the next video. We'll get it all put together, we'll get it edited, we'll get it out there, we'll do a couple of benchmarks. I might stick with just making sure it posts to make sure it works, and worry about installing operating systems and all that stuff later, but we'll see. But for the time being, I just want to show you guys what's going to go in it, and then the next step will be actually doing it. So, as always, folks, you're welcome to subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Comments are always welcome. If there's anything particular you want to see me do with this build, put in this build or anything, or any hardware or anything that you think might help or might facilitate things, please let me know. And until then, folks, I'll see you later.